Previously on Poetically Mused.
Think I doubled my divine math to don the decade to recover a higher path that in time got mislaid. This is much to grasp, but I'm saying for eons I've watched you give yourselves wine dark sea blues trying to fill my shoes.
My Mystic Diary, your haven for spiritually symbolic reading. This is the Wind Song Crawl of Oracles. Welcome.
Pataki, oni miojo eti, okudu maroon, odonek bawa ogun. Maroon de logoren awanojo ikba ebere. The protests for the murder of George Floyd are at large. This time the world joins in. Cities are under siege. History is repeating itself, and I am at a loss for words. So I shall hold my tongue and my peace until I concoct, ferment the elixir of the totality of all I have to say about this. The facts on the plague are still unclear, and the world is in an unrest, a collective unrest. And joy seems to be getting harder to hold on to, but I do nonetheless. Today was a Friday as beautiful as Oshun's gold. It had its randomness, it had its imagery, it had its interview. In the midst of my Tuesday radio show, The Peridot Poultice, I created a 5-part series dedicated to the fatherhood energy. And so, I had an interview with the educator, the photographer, the poet, Mouton Bazile. It's interesting, on the main smiling image of Honey, Love, and War Paint, you can thank him for that image. And I decided to give just a little snippet of our interview just to give everyone a taste of what to expect in the interview coming up this coming Tuesday. This should be fun, but not as fun as the photo shoot. And we're back. Thank you for enjoying the Peridot Poultice. We are in the midst of our season campaign, so now is an ideal time to become a member of KPFT today. More information on that later, but as I promised in the first hour, when the clock strikes 1, we're having an interview. Now last week was The Mind of the Father, an interview with clinical psychologist, clinical community psychologist, Dr. Derek Wilson. Today in the studios is an educator, a poet, and a father. He captures imagery as photos are 1,000 words. So, bringing to you the second part of the series, the image of the father. Joining us is Mouton Bazile. How are you this evening?
Oh, I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so let's get into the interview. The image of the father. I chose this with you in mind because you are a poet that captures moments in life, and you are a photographer where you capture a lot of life's image. So, in the world today, there are a lot of people who need to see more narratives of the positive and active father in the lives of their children. So if you will, would you just give us a brief background on your overall journey, whatever you care to share about yourself?
Okay, I would have to say I was born a poet. I became a photographer, and the two art forms that work really well together because they both just transmit messages. And I have been a writer my entire life. I cannot remember a time when I didn't have a pen in my hand I was given a typewriter at age 8 because even my family recognized that ability. And I learned in early adulthood that my writing prophesied my future. And that is when my poetry really began to become what I want to be. And it is my poetry that drives me and guides me into being the person I want to be. You know, it was to be the one that allows me to find and fulfill my own destiny.
So what was it about life that made you want to capture images?
When I joined the Army in 1987, straight out of high school, I went to the Army. I wanted to become a journalist. They didn't have any positions for that open at the time I wanted to join, so I accepted the position of photographer. And I was fortunate because I was stationed in Panama, and the supervisor there, the civilian supervisor, he was in a lot of ways, he reminded me of my father. My father was a man dedicated to work ethic. You do your job, and you do it well. You do it exceptionally well if possible. And I hate to say it, he told me that he had to push me to be 4 times as better to get 1/4 of the reward because racism exists as it does. But because of that, I became the photographer I am because he helped me to develop the eye. And every true photographer has what is known as an eye. They have a perspective of the way they see things. Basically, it's the way they see light and shadow. And he helped me to develop an eye. And when I look at my photos, I'm always trying to capture a moment. And I wanted to say something that will make people want to continue to see and hear that moment forever. Which is why the motto of my photography is moments that last forever.
Images are 1,000 words, but they are the lifeblood of a poet. And being a fellow poet, I definitely understand the capturing of moments, the capturing of feelings, the capturing of our golden footnotes that tell the story of our existence. I want to know, what began your journey into poetry? Like, you said you were born a poet. I'd like to know a little more about that journey.
Okay. I wrote poetry my entire life, and there were times when I remember I would write a poem and I shared with my brother, or I had a friend, these 2 people in particular, that I shared my poetry with, and because I trusted their criticism. And they would give me their feedback, and I'd rewrite the poem and read it to them again. And they would give me their feedback. And sometimes I would rewrite a poem 15, 20 times. And they were patient. They would listen to it every time and give me their feedback until they got to the point, oh, I like that just the way it is. And so that helped me discover my own style as a writer. Plus, I have to say, my 2 greatest influences as a writer would be Paul Laurence Dunbar and Edgar Allan Poe. Paul Laurence was, that man has such a versatility. He could speak the most guttural idioms and then come out with the most intellectual, highbrow phraseology. And it was just amazing, just to see that diversity. And it made me want to really understand everything there was to know about poetry. I mean, from rhyme scheme to meter to alliterations and everything you could with the poem. And then Edgar Allan Poe, he is, I'm a Scorpio, so I'm quote unquote mysterious by nature. And Edgar Allan Poe was the father of the mystery story here in America. He's also a very accomplished poet. And what he does is he hides a secret in every poem.
Man.
And when I discovered that changed, it removed all limits from my writing, because then I decided I can do anything with it. And I can tell stories within stories. I can tell secrets within secrets. And as a writer, if you're a true writer, what you're writing is the world you already see. And you're just feeling each story, each poem is just a detail of the world you already see. And you write until you write that world into completion or you die. You know, and with my poetry, it was always just another look at myself. This world that I see, this is me. And my poems, each poem was a look at who I am and who I could become. And Edgar, he just like told me there were no limits to how you can describe yourself. You know, he covers such a wide variety of styles and techniques. And so I set myself to do it all. I set myself to learn everything I could about poetry and to master each technique, from sonnets to free verse to limericks to from children's poems to erotica to whatever the written word could cover. I wanted to do it, and I wanted to have a poem that I could say, okay, this is how I am, how I feel about this subject, and be satisfied that I could forever say, okay, yeah, I like this about this.
Let's venture into a different area of your life. I did mention to our listeners that you are also an educator. How did that weave into the fabric of photography, fatherhood, and writing?
Okay. I could almost say I was born an educator also because I was born curious. And I was fortunate with parents that when I go and say, what does this word mean, their favorite answer was, go look it up in a dictionary and then come tell me the definition.